Well, good morning, everyone. It's George Bayruthi from FS Securities. Today I'm going to show you how we actually pick stocks on our system, what we do every morning to find what is hot and what is not. But before then, let's go and see what happened overnight. And that's, of course, the report this morning for Wednesday, the 13th of July, 2022. Overnight, we see that Wall Street was down, the Dow was down 0.6%, the S&P 500 was down 0.9%, and the Nasdaq was down 1%. BHP was down 1.8%, Rio down 1%. We look at the iron ore price. We see the iron ore price down 7.2%, $105.80 US per ton. That happens to be the lowest level for a long time. Remember, several months ago, it was as high as $160.20 US per ton. Well, of course, the lockdown in China is affecting the construction company. And of course, the price of iron ore relies on the construction company in China. Tesla down 0.5%, Apple up 0.7%. I'll check what's happening with Twitter. Twitter yesterday was down 11% because of Elon Musk pulling out of taking over Twitter. In Europe, the StoXX 50 index, which comprises most major European markets, was up 0.4%. You can see it here what the FTSE in London, the CAC in France, and the DAX in Germany. Spot gold, $1,725, $1,725.20 US per ounce. It was several months ago, 6, 7, 8 months ago, it was nearly $2,000, above $2,000. Major drop in the price of gold. Brent crude oil, for the first time in a long time, it's below 100 US per barrel. And West Texas crude oil, $95.57, has been down several days below the 100. Obviously, all commodities are going down in price. The Australian dollar, 67.55, slightly above what it was yesterday. However, the lowest level we've seen is actually today. 67.55 is the lowest level for several months. 67.3 yesterday was the lowest, sorry. The highest we've seen it was 75.8. That's now several months ago. And Bitcoin, 19,320. That's below the 20,700 yesterday, and that converts in Australian dollars to 28,600. The lowest level in the US was 18,900, seen that several weeks ago. And the lowest level in Australia for a long time was 27,400. And the highest level probably a year ago was 88,900. So from, let's call that 89, or let's call it 90, and let's call it 30. So we have nearly a third of the price where it was at the highest level. Bitcoin is at 30% of its high level a year ago, or maybe over a year ago. So that's nearly 70% drop in the price. Wow. A lot of people were dreaming about Bitcoin getting to $100,000 not so far in the future. Well, I'm sorry you are disappointed. Okay, well, let's go and see the volume, the declines. Here we see that the volume has actually been dropping. So the buyers and sellers are actually taking a stationary situation. But you see the red columns here happen to be the declines for several weeks. These are weeklies. and you can see for several weeks the red is above the blue, and for the first time last week, the last 5 days, we've seen the advances exceeding the declines. That's good news. Now, first of all, I want to show you that every morning we send our portfolio results. We've closed all our stocks in the local market as well as the US market in end of June for taxation purposes, and we started to open some of the stocks again in July. We started to trade on the 7th of July for the first time in this financial year. When we close all the stocks, all the portfolios in June, what happened is that all the indices, that is ASX 200 plus the Nasdaq plus the S&P 500, were all in the red, in the vicinity of about 8 to 10 to 15%, and all our portfolio, the local and the US, were actually positive. If you go into video and look at our recording back in June, you will see exactly what we were trading. Well, this morning we sent this email to our followers, clients, ex-clients, friends, contacts, prospective clients, and we show that in the local market for the conservative portfolio, we've got ANZ, James Hardie, Mineral Resources, and Centra, which is actually the old Westfield. Well, they're all making money except Mineral Resources, down 0.4% since we started. Yesterday we had a drop, $152, which translates to 0.7% in decline. However, when you take that negative decline yesterday and put it since we started, we're still 2.58% positive. However, our aggressive portfolio is not doing very well. We're down 7.5% yesterday. We only have one stock, and we're only spending a very small amount. We've got $250,000 per portfolio, and we only spent about $4,000 or $5,000 in the aggressive portfolio. We're going in slowly, and that at the moment we are down 3.9% overall since we started. All right, the way we trade, let's have a look and see. First of all, we look at volume. So in here, what we've got, Coles was up 1.9% yesterday. We always pick, the first thing we look at is volume. This is a volume-oriented portfolio based. We look for stocks that have the volume yesterday exceeding the 50-day moving average in volumes. So every day for the last 50 days, we look at the daily volume. We compute over the 50 days a moving average, and we compare that moving average with the last volume. So the moving average over 50 days is 3.2 million transactions, and yesterday we've seen 3.5 million transactions. It's 1.1 times the moving average. So after we see this, we go further and assess the fair value. And we find that Coles' fair value is 17% below the latest price. So that won't be of interest to us. If we go down here in the mid cap, these are the top 50 stocks with market capitalization over 1 billion. In here we have market capitalization below 1 billion. Eclipse turns up. The price was 3.3%. However, the volume yesterday was almost the same as the moving average. However, we see that the fair value is 26% above the latest price. So we start to have an interest, and we continue to do some more research, look at the chart, look at the fundamentals, and we reassess the fair value and look at the management, and then we make a decision whether we buy it or not. If you are in the market selling, going short, then we show you that, for instance, Ramsay Healthcare was down 1.6%, and the volume yesterday 1.65 times the moving average. However, the fair value is $61.44 versus $69.81. However, Newcrest Mining has been dropping because, of course, the price of gold going down. It was down 0.2%. The volume was 1.2 times the moving average, and the fair value is nearly 50% more than the latest price. So we might be interested to have a look at Newcrest Mines. And so is South 32. Now, they are short at the moment, but you may think that Newcrest Mines has maybe very close to the bottom, and you may decide to go bullish on it instead of going bearish, expecting further declines. BHP 37.46, down 1.4% yesterday. Fair value is $40.12, 7% above the fair value. Alright, so that's one method we look at, and from here we create a portfolio. We call it volume oriented. Let's go to the next section, and we go to the most active trades. Yesterday Amcor popped up. We look across the market and see which company has actually increased and most active, has momentum. This Amcor was up 2.4%. However, you look at the fair value is 5.2% below the latest price, so we skip that one. ResMed, again, not a great deal in fair value. We go down here and we see something of interest. Westpac, $20.10, was up 0.8%, and the fair value is nearly 45% above the latest price. We start to get interest in the momentum, and we start to look at these, look at the fair value, look at the mechanical indicators, and then look at the fundamental, and then we make a decision whether we buy it or sell. Anything you see in this particular presentation, you can always call me. If you're ringing from overseas, 61 is the country code. You don't need the 0. 61-411-259526. And if you're ringing from Australia, you don't need the country code. You ring 0411-259526. You can always write to me at george@fs. FS stands for full service. george@fssecurities.com.au. Happy trading, and I hope you enjoy the day and hopefully make some money.